Good morning, students. Today I'm going to explain you Act 1, Scene 3 of the play Merchant of Venice. This scene actually is the development of Scene 1, how Bassanio went to Antonio to seek his help and how he wanted some money to go to Belmont in order to woo Portia. He wanted to woo Portia actually. As he has received fair, speechless messages of love from her. And in order to go to Belmont, he needed some amount, some cash in his hand, which would assist him to go to Belmont. Antonio told him that presently he did not have the credit or cash in his hand to give it to Bassanio. So he can go in Venice and can ask anyone to supply him with his needs, and he will be the guarantor for Bassanio. So this scene is the development of what we have seen in Act 1, Scene 1 of the play. So the place is Venice, a public place. You can take it as a street also. Bassanio and Shylock. We are introduced to one of the most important character of the play, Shylock. Shylock actually is a Jew. Okay, Shylock is a Jew, and as it is a Christian society, so Jews were not given utmost importance in the place, and so we will see him of a different temperament, and he is a villain, you can say, or antagonist of the play Merchant of Venice. Now let us see the conversation which takes place between Bassanio and Shylock. Shylock, 3,000 ducats. Well, Bassanio say, Heiser, for 3 months. Bassanio is seeking Shylock for 3,000 ducats. He wants that from him. Shylock, for 3 months. Well, Shylock just says, okay, for 3 months you need 3,000 ducats. Bassanio, for the which, as I told you, Antonio should be bound. He says, and Antonio will be the guarantor for that 3,000 ducats. Shylock, Antonio shall become bound. Well, Shylock says, okay, Antonio is going to be the guarantor. Bassanio, may you stead me? Will you pleasure me? Shall I know your answer? Bassanio says, can you help me? Will you be able to help me? I want to know that. Shylock, 3,000 ducats for 3 months and Antonio bound. He repeats that you want 3,000 ducats for 3 months and Antonio will be the guarantor. Bassanio says, your answer to that? Bassanio is seeking that what is your reply for that? Shylock, Antonio is a good man. Shylock in a very sarcastic manner says that Antonio is a good man. Actually, Antonio is a respected man of Venice. Bassanio says, have you heard any imputation to the contrary? Bassanio just says that, have you heard anything wrong about Antonio? Have you heard anything negative about Antonio? She says, oh, no. My meaning in saying he's a good man is to have you understand me, that he is sufficient. He says, oh, no. I have not heard anything against him. My meaning in saying that he is a good man is that he himself as a man, as an individual, is sufficient as a guarantor for me to give you 3,000 ducats. Then he says, yet his means are in supposition. He hath an argosy bound to Tripolis, another to Indies, third at Mexico, fourth for England, and other ventures he hath squandered abroad. He says, still, his ventures, his business are spread here and there, are at risk, are at supposition. He has different argosies, he has different ships which are in different places. He just takes the name of the places. He says one has gone to Tripolis, other to Mexico, other to Indies. And all other ships that he has been spread across. But ships are but boats. He says, what is a ship? Ship is just a boat. It is made up of wooden board. Sailors but men. People who are sailing on that are simple men. They have not got any different power to save them. There can be land rats, water thieves, and land thieves. I mean pirates. And there is peril of water, winds, and rocks. He says that anything can happen to his ship. There is wind, water, storm, disaster. There are thieves, there can be land rats, pirates. Anything can happen to his ship on the way. Because the people who are sailing on it are simple human beings. They have not got any different power. The man is notwithstanding sufficient. If we take Antonio, he says, however, Antonio for himself as a guarantor is sufficient. There is no doubt about it. But what about the ships that are sailing? It can be at the risk. 3,000 ducats? I think I may take his bond. He says 3,000 ducats. I think I can give him this, accept his security. Bassanio, be assured, you may. Bassanio says that assure yourself. Before offering me this amount, you should assure yourself. Bassanio, if it please you to dine with us. Bassanio says that if at all it pleases you to have dinner with us, we can have discussion over there. Shylock, yes, to smell pork, to eat of the habitation which your prophet the Nazarite conjured the devil into. I will buy with you, sell with you, talk with you, walk with you, and so following. But I will not eat with you, drink with you, nor pray with you. What news on the Rialto? Who he comes here? Shylock over here clearly says, what do you want? Me to dine with you? Never. Do you want me to smell pork? Do you want me to eat the meat of the animal into which Jesus of Nazareth has put the devil? Actually, it is a belief that three people went to Jesus for getting cured, as it was said that they are inflicted with bad spirit. So Nazarite just took out that bad spirit and put it inside the herd of pigs. So it is a, you can say it is a belief. So he says that no, I am not going to have food with you. I can do trade with you, I can buy with you, sell with you, but I will never eat with you, pray with you, or drink with you. That was his Jewish notion. He says that what news have you received from the Rialto? Have you got, Shylock just tries to question Bassanio that have you heard any news from Rialto? Rialto is Venetian Stock Exchange, where merchants come together to discuss about their commercial dealings. So he asks, who is he comes here? And in the meantime, somebody is seen coming. So he questions. And then in the scene enters Antonio. Antonio enters the scene. So he just says, Bassanio, this is Signor Antonio. He just says that this is Lord Antonio. Shylock goes aside. Now the word aside in the bracket is required to be understood. Shakespeare has used this aside many times, very frequently in the play, in each of his play. The purpose actually here is that the character will speak out what is the notion, so that the audience becomes clear about what is going in his mind. So he turns aside while Bassanio and Antonio are having conversation. He speaks up. He just says, how like a frowning publican he looks. I hate him, for he is a Christian. But more for that in low simplicity, he lends out money greats and brings down the rate of usurance here with us in Venice. Shylock just says, how like a frowning publican. Now understand frowning publican. Frowning publican is a Roman tax collector. In the olden days, no, the tax collector, anyone who will come to collect tax, get your money, you will be like, you will not like that person and you will use some abusive word for that. So in the meantime, when Antonio comes, this is the word Shylock used. How does he look like a Roman tax collector? He just justifies his hatred towards him. He says that I hate him because he is a Christian. But more for this in low simplicity. He says, but more than that, I hate him because he gives people money without charging interest. And because of that, Shylock's business as a money lender is affected. And the rate of interest has gone down in Venice because of this Antonio. If I catch him once upon the hip, I will feed fat the ancient grudge I bear him. He says that once, only once, if I get opportunity to hold him, okay, get an opportunity to take revenge on Antonio, I will not leave him. I will feed fat all the grudges that I have against him once only if I hold him. He hates our sacred nation, and he rails even where merchants most do congregate. He says that he hates our religion, he hates our nation, he hates us being a Jew. And at a place where all the merchants gather and discuss, that is the place where he uses abusive things for us. Oh me, my bargains and my well-worn thrift. He says he mocks about, he laughs about my bargains, my money lending business, and whatever money I have attained, he takes it negatively, which he calls interest. Cursed be my tribe if I forgive him. He says my whole tribe will curse me, get angry with me, if at all I leave Antonio without taking revenge. So here it's clear that Shylock has certain preoccupied notion. He has been insulted, he has been humiliated by Antonio, and he also hates him because he is a Christian. So he's waiting for an opportunity to feed fat his grudge. Ancient grudge is the word. I hope you have understood. Moving on, Bassanio, Shylock, do you hear? Bassanio just asked Shylock, do you hear, Shylock? Shylock, I am debating of my present store, and by near guess of my memory, I cannot instantly raise up the gross of full 3,000 ducats. Here the character of Shylock again is revealed. He's crude, he's cunning, and he is crafty. He's thinking something else, speaking something else, and just in a fraction of seconds he changes his words, that he says that he was debating, he was calculating whether he is having that amount with him to give it to Bassanio or not. What of that? He says that what of that? Tubal, a wealthy Hebrew of my tribe, will furnish me. He says that I was just thinking that from where should I collect that 3,000 ducats? If at all it is not with me, I will be asking Tubal. Tubal is another Jew and friend of Shylock. He will be assisting Shylock in different ways. We will see it in the next act, next scene, how Tubal is going to assist Shylock. So he says that Tubal is going to furnish me, going to give me that amount. And he also says that he is a wealthy Hebrew of my tribe, but soft. Again he says, but little, but wait. For he again repeats, for how many months do you desire? What is the time period for which you need it? And then he turns to Antonio and says, rest you pair, good Signor, your worship was the last man in our mouths. He just says, oh, greetings, morning, my good sir. You have just been the subject of our conversation. You were the person about whom we were discussing, about whom we were talking. Antonio, Shylock Albert, I neither lend nor borrow by taking nor my giving of excess. Yet to supply the right wants of my friend, I will break a custom. Antonio is a very justifiable man. He says that he does not believe in this giving and taking of money. But presently, because his friend is in need of money, he has come to get that amount from Shylock. And to Bassanio he inquires that is he yet possessed of how much he would? Have you told him that how much amount do you want and for what? Shylock, 3,000 ducats. Antonio, and for 3 months. Shylock, I had forgot. 3 months you told me so. Well then, your bond, and let me see, but hear you. Methought you said you neither lend nor borrow upon advantage. Shylock says, yes, I have forgotten. Okay, for 3 months, I got it. Well, that's your bond. But I heard that you said that you do not borrow and lend for advantage. Antonio again repeats, I do never use it. Shylock, when Jacob gazed his uncle Laban's ship, this Jacob from our holy Abraham was, as his wise mother wrought in his behalf, the third processor, he was the third. Now Shylock over here understand it minutely. Shylock over here is giving example from his holy scripture. He talks about Abraham. Abraham actually is the founder of Jewish religion. Okay, he had in sequence he has children, and the third child, always the first son is the processor of a generation. Okay, he is given with the property, or you can say whatever belonged to the ancestors. But here the mother played trick and the third son was given the property. What trick? You have the reference in your textbook. Will not go into much detail. You just understand that the mother played the trick and she made her third son, that is the last son, to be the possessor of the property, and he was the third. He just gave example. It was a trick cleverly mother planned, okay, on his behalf, so that her third son become the successor to the family property. So he just takes the name of that, Antonio. And what of him? Did he take interest? Antonio just clarifies that was that taking of interest and all. Shylock, oh no, not interest, not as you would say directly interest. Shylock justifies, no, they did not take interest directly. Mark what Jacob did. He is just giving him example of Jacob. Let us know what Jacob did. Jacob actually was working in his uncle Laban's farm, cattle. Okay, there were sheep and goats and all, and he used to look after it. And in lieu of that, his uncle promised him. He just made his uncle promise that according to what the wages. He will get all the ships, ewe and bleat, when they will give children which will be born to the ship, will go to Jacob if there are stripes on the body of those baby ships. Okay, so he played a trick. He put a rod in the direction of the sun and all. Biologically it is not fact, but religiously it was like this. It was the story. So all the ships which were with spots and stripes over the body passed over to Jacob, and in this way Jacob became rich. Here Shylock is giving example that in order to have those ship, he played a trick by putting a rod in the direction of the sun near the womb of the mother ship. So this trick he is talking about. So he says, directly interest, mark what Jacob did. When Laban and himself were compromised, that all the earnings, that is the baby ship, which were streaked and piped, which has spots on the body, should fall as Jacob's hire, will go to Jacob. This was a way to thrive, and this was the way to become rich, and he was blessed. And in this way he become prosperous. And thrift is blessing if men steal it not. And so he justifies that if people do not steal, okay, if you are earning money by charging interest or doing other thing, it's not wrong. Shylock tries to justify that. Stealing is wrong, but making money out of money is not wrong. Antonio, this was a venture, sir. He says that it was an enterprise, sir. It was a business, sir, that Jacob served for what Jacob worked. A thing not in power to bring to pass. It was a thing that was not in power of man. It cannot be controlled. Can we control that I'm fair, I'm tall, I'm big, I'm small? No, not at all. In the similar way, here it is said that Antonio says that it was not in his power to have the earrings with spots and stripes. So, but swayed and fashioned by hand of heaven, it was God's desire. Was this inserted to make interest good? And he just questions Shylock that was it inserted in your scripture in order to prove that taking interest was correct? Or is your gold and silver ewes and rams? He says that what gold and silver that you have in possession are like ewes and rams that will go on breeding and it will increase. Shylock says, I cannot tell. I make it bread as fast, but note me signal. He says that yes, I wish that they were like ewes and rams, but I don't know. But I want those golds and silver to increase. What character is revealed? What trait is revealed? Cunning, crafty, shrewd, and what else? Money-minded. Lust for money. Greediness. He's greedy. He just justifies that he wants his money to increase. Antonio, mark you this, Bassanio. The devil can cite scripture for his purpose. Antonio just says to Bassanio that listen how this man is, mark this, Bassanio, that this fellow can cite, give example from holy scriptures in order to prove that he is correct. An evil soul, he calls him a devil, evil. Producing holy witness, he is just bringing holy witness, is like a villain with a smiling cheek. He is a evil soul with a smiling face. A goodly apple rotten at the heart. An apple, he's like an apple which looks very good from outside, but from within it is rotten. Internally it is not good. Oh, what a goodly outside falsehood hath. What an attractive appearance he hath, but he is completely false from within. Then again Shylock repeats 3,000 ducats. It's a good round sum. 3 months from 12. Then let me see the rate. Shylock just says, okay, 3,000 ducats, 3 months out of 12. Let me see what is the rate. I'll be charging. Rate here refers to the rate of interest what he is going to take. Shylock, Antonio then says, well, Shylock, shall we be beholden to you? Shylock is asked that can we trust you that you're going to give us money. I'll end this part here. We'll be continuing in the next part of Act 1, Scene 3. I hope till here it is clear, and if at all you like it, please like and subscribe. I will be giving you much more updates from this scene. Thank you.